These headlights look awful. Somebody's gonna fix those. We're gonna do a full detail on the car, and then we're gonna put a stereo in it. Because, well, I'll show you the stereo that's in it now. There's nothing there. Okay. There's also a bunch of crap under the hood. I don't know who did this, but it looks pretty rough. I don't know who did that. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, yeah, don't need, that's better. Yeah, okay. Here's everything you're gonna need. Obviously a stereo. This is really cheap because we're gonna do this on a budget. That'll come with the stereo. Wiring harness. This is an adapter for the wiring of the car. Block off plate to, I mean, you can buy, you know, different like bins that go under the stereo, but I don't really like those, so we're just gonna put this plate in there. I have amp wiring here because we're gonna do a sub and amp. Wire tape, and then these. You can use like butt connectors to do the wiring. But I'm going to use these things. I'll show you how they work. They're much better. They're really cheap on Amazon. 2 screwdrivers, just in case. Wire cutters, strippers, and I'll also be using a heat gun. Stereo you don't need for now. Get rid of that. Wiring we will need, and both of these. If you don't need, you can set to the side. Pretty simple. You just kind of match the colors up with these. If you don't have a harness like this, you can look for a wiring diagram online and just match up your wiring harness to the harness that's on the car. This makes it easy and keeps it nice and clean. So you're going to use your wire strippers or your wire cutters to strip your wire. Pretty simple. Pretty simple, but I can't do it. This stereo is also used because it's from a project, but you want to make your wire look nice and clean, similar in length. And now I'm going to be using these things. Basically, you just slide a wire into each side. Make sure they overlap in the middle. And then that little bit of solder right there, we're going to melt, and that will solder it instead of taking a ton of time to do all the soldering. It makes it really easy. So all you have to do is heat it up. So you'll start seeing that expand. It also melts the heat shrink and puts these 2 washers in there, and they just kind of, you know, seal it up so you don't get water in it. You just let it cool down, and then it's just as strong as if you soldered it, because I mean it literally is soldered. It just is an easier way to do it. So I'm going to do the rest of them up here. We can watch a nice time lapse. That's all done. I left the power wire out because I have an auxiliary power wire for a little more power. Volkswagens like to have issues with their power wire for the stereo, so it's just sometimes a good idea just to run an additional or a better ignition source wire. So I have both of those out, and that's the trigger wire for the amp. I just want to tape this up a little bit so it's safe and doesn't rub on anything and cause a big problem. Let's start up here and just wrap it nice and tightly around. That is one clean install right there. So this plugs into the factory end of the stereo system, and this will plug into our new extremely cheap, probably terrible stereo that I took out of my Jeep. So I know these stereos are $30 new. Comes with the wiring. You don't have to buy one of these. These are about $10. So I'm sorry, these are $20 new. So with $10 there, you're looking at $30 for a stereo complete. I mean, I made this out of some ABS, or you can buy the adapter plate for another $10. That gives you a bin, you can put your phone in there or whatever, but like I said, this is just what I prefer, just to get rid of that. And then if I wire any like additional bass knobs or anything, I can put it here with switches or, you know, any kind of accessories. So okay, so this wire here is for the trigger wire that we wired into the trigger wire. That basically, this just sends power to this wire when the stereo is on, and that allows the stereo to send a signal back to the amplifier and tell the amplifier to turn on. So I'm gonna have to stick this back in. We're gonna run it down into the footwell for now, and then we'll take it and run it back to the trunk, and that will go to the amplifier then. So I'm just going to take a little section of this, and we're going to run it straight down in here. I've done this too many times, so I know right where to stick my fingers. That didn't sound right. Oh well. Of course, it's going to be all tangled up. We'll have to sort that out here. There we go. Pull that straight through. And I want to give it enough slack that I can still pull the stereo out of the dash if I need to. Now this is the factory wirings for the factory stereo. This car had the monsoon stereo, I believe, from the factory. Can't tell you I've ever had one that actually had that stereo in it, so pretty easy. That just clips down like that, and then you're good to go. Next thing you want to do is probably test the stereo. I mean, I just heard the speakers make a noise there, so I can tell you the stereo probably is going to work. Except I didn't hook the power wire up yet, which is this wire right here. So this is for the power. Like I said, just a little bit stronger of a power wire. I'm just going to twist that together for now, and we'll take care of that properly once we make sure the stereo is going to work. Turn the key on, hit the power button, and then it comes on. Make sure we're getting sound out of it, which we are. Sounds good. Go ahead and turn that off now. Or we can just turn the key off, actually. And when I pull that off, shuts off as it should. The yellow wire, you have to make sure that's hooked up because that is for the memory. So if that's not hooked up and you have your phone connected with Bluetooth, every time you unhook or turn the key off and pull it out and get out of the car, every time you come back you have to repair your phone because it doesn't keep the memory. So it pulls just a little bit of power from the battery and allows you to, you know, have that extra power that you need. So I am going to fasten this properly, wrap some tape around it so it doesn't touch on anything, and I will be right back. Got my power wire hooked up there. The next thing I have to run is the auxiliary cables for the left and right audio that go to the subwoofer. Now I want to run that now, so when I run the amplifier, hook that all up, I don't have to take the stereo back out. So I'm going to send this down the exact same way, right down through here. Now there's too many wires in the way there. Pull that down all the way, put it all in the footwell, and then you want to memorize which one, because for some reason these are never the same color as the back of the stereo. The back of the stereo is always going to be red will be right and left will be white. I always put the lightest color on white, so that helps me remember, and then the colored one, you know, would go to the red one. So we'll hook those up. Now that we have everything, you know, test fitted the way it goes, we want to make sure it still fits in the dash like that, and then we'll be ready to install our retainer plate. So once you get this in here, don't be an idiot like me. Make sure you put this on before you hook all your wires up, otherwise you're gonna have to unhook it all before you put that on, and then you'll look like a dummy. So there are some tabs right there that I have to bend in, so I'm gonna actually go grab my screwdriver. We're gonna bend those in, and then we can put the retainer plate in and make it look all pretty. Alright, let's get back in here. Sorry, the lighting is terrible. It is raining right now, so let's take a look at those right there.
It's going to be these tabs right there. I just have to bend those in, and that'll keep that in place so it doesn't fall out. That is looking nice and sturdy. Now we can feed all the wiring in there, and then we'll just snap it in place. So I'm going to put my retainer clip in there, and then we will have it all finished. There's our stereo all wired up. We have our retainer plate in. I'm going to put a little bit of glue there because it is moving around a little bit. This piece also just keeps coming off. Pretty poor design on Volkswagen's part, so these like little clips break, and then they just come apart, so it's pretty hard to get them put back together. But a little bit of glue just kind of holds it on. And this is the, the GLI brushed aluminum trim. It's very, very expensive, so I don't really want to ruin that. So we're going to do the subwoofer and amp tomorrow. We're going to head off and go see a movie. So I just wanted to go over the car a little bit here before we go a little bit. These headlights look like crap. I have a nicer set, but they just don't work as far as aiming, so you can't aim them right, and it just looks awful. So I have these in. We are going to do like a full restoration on these because these are the I think pre-2002 or something, so they have the clear lenses on the turn signal instead of the ambers. The lip looks pretty bad. It's pretty just chipped and cracked, and we'll talk more about the Focus in the next video, and we'll talk more about Raquel's GTI. Raquel is my girlfriend. She's not my fiance actually, and her GTI that I don't know if we ever showed that car, but we'll show that car. We'll talk about what's going on with that car. And we'll talk about what's going on with this thing right now, actually, because she'll be at work on Tuesday. So this is the 2018 Mazda Miata MX-5. After she blew her car up, we went and we got a Mazda 3. She just wasn't happy with it because she really likes to drive stick. So we just happened to be driving past a dealership, and we found this. Very cheap. We got a good deal on it, and she loved it. So we ended up buying that. Kind of matches my Miata. Again, we have to talk more about my Miata, what's going on with that. That car we'll talk about on Tuesday, but it is not here. So I will be daily driving this. The Focus I'm pretty much done with. It just, once it's fixed, I'm just going to kind of get rid of it. I've done a lot with that car before I started YouTube, and it's, I've had a really good time with that car, but it's just, I'd like to get rid of that and get something more fun. So I'll get rid of that. I need to finish up a few projects, and then we will, get another project car or another car that I can drive every day. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.